Hey guys, it's FallenDice, and welcome to episode 8 of FallenDice Plays Better Than BuildCraft. As you can see, we are back in my test world, and the reason is I decided to build a better wheat farm. The one that I built had nice high yield, put in the potted plants to make it a little easier to plant and stuff, but it still required manually getting up in there and planting it every time, which I found out kind of made me not do it a lot of times as I walk by. So I wanted to make something a little more automatic. So this one is using the dispenser blocks so that I can manually plant. And we got a couple buttons and a lever. The reason I'm using the lever and not a button with an RS NOR latch and a delay and everything is because of space. I'm trying to do this in a small amount of space. So as you can see, I've got 8 blocks wide, and for another one it would take like a 9th block just to kind of separate the redstone. But here's how it looks from the top. So I've got 32 block dispensers, which means each time we go through we're going to get a harvest of 32 wheat. Again, it's not near the amount that I was getting off my other farm, but this one requires no effort other than pushing a couple buttons. So as we can see, either end we've got the water being held back by 2 pistons. In the center we have a centralized collection point. The reason why we're doing this is because as we add other farms into this grouping up on my factory floor, I'll maybe put like 2 or 3. As I get more materials I can make more of these, so I can do more at a time. Plus I can make my automatic hemp farm, which won't be exactly like this, but it'll have a similar setup to this, with the two rows and then the pistons pushing them off into a central water trough to take it down to the middle, and it'll all drop, and then it's all going to kind of be moving along over until we get to like maybe a central drop area, or possibly with hoppers. What I got down here is I have a hopper with a wicker. This will catch my seeds. This hopper's got a ladder, so it's going to catch my wheat, and then anything else will go over here. So my wheat and my sugarcane will fall into this hopper, but as well as my melons. But my pumpkins would actually go all the way down to there. It's just an idea for something that I can do. I do need to use the block dispensers because a regular dispenser will not plant the seed. It just kind of shoots it across. But yeah, the wiring is fairly simple. This lever is attached to a block with redstone torches on either side to invert it. So when I flip the switch on, it's going to come over here and depower these pistons, and that'll let the water release. And it also will come down here and do the same thing on the back side. I had it with just a button, and when I pushed it, it was enough to send or to go make it all the way in, but it didn't last long enough to push all the items down. So again, like I said, rather than going with an RS NOR latch and a delay, which would take up an awful lot of space, I just decided to use a switch, and I can just let it, flip it, let it sit for like 5 seconds, and flip it again. Then I've got these 2 buttons, and again, I could have found a way to connect them, but I want to make it as compact as possible, so I can put these, if it's all the way on the end, it's going to be up towards the ceiling. That way the water, 8 or 7 blocks and then a drop, or 8 blocks with a water or source block at each level. But I can make it from one end of the factory to the center, and the same thing from the other end, so all my items will make it to one central collection point. But that signal is using repeaters, preventing it from getting to any of my other stuff, comes over here, and then it runs across the top of the block dispensers. In that middle area where there was no dispensers, I got a repeater to continue the redstone signal all the way to the end. So just pushing this button once will send a signal all the way across, and as long as there's nothing in front of it, it will plant. So we'll go ahead and we'll harvest this real fast. So you can see, hit the button, or sorry, hit the switch, everything starts to move down. Gotta let it sit long enough to make sure all the items make it down, so we don't actually lose out on items. When we're done, flip it back up. It dries up. Then we're going to come over here, hit our switch, One hit of the switch, it's all planted. Another hit of the switch, and once again it's all planted. I haven't decided if I want to take out my initial farm yet to put this in over there, which I probably will, because it's huge, taking up a lot of area, and I do want to use the potted plants because I'm going to use those for all of my other little farms, so I probably will do that. So I think we'll go in there, we'll take that apart, and then we'll go ahead and set up this first one, and then we'll see what kind of materials I have. If I can set two of these up side by side, I might do that. That way I can just get like a 64, so every time I flip the switch I should get a full stack of wheat. Alright, well, I'm looking at all this again and realizing how incredibly, insanely large this is. And all of the stuff that I put in here. And I'm thinking that for now, I don't think I'm going to take this apart. The main reason for wanting to have a large amount of wheat coming in is going to be for breeding. And I'm probably going to set up something very similar to what Bathasay did for a tallow and what is it? Tallow and glue factory. I want to do that, and I'm going to use my version of the wheat farm. And I think once I get that 5-minute timer, I can use that to set for the wheat farm as well, so I won't have to push the button. So what I'll end up doing is I'll probably put one of those farms above each one of the cows, the cow troughs. It should be enough to fill the hopper that's feeding the dispenser and whatnot. And I'll just keep this for now, and might even keep it for permanent, just as nostalgia to remember some of the projects I do as I go through here. So since I don't need to do that quite yet, because I don't have my cow farm set up, I think instead I'm going to go and do some of the other farms I had in mind. So using similar to what we did over there, we're going to go ahead and set up a sugarcane, melon, pumpkin, and probably a couple hemp. And that'll be in this space over here. So we'll figure out the if I can fit 2 hemps in. I know I can fit at least one of each. And then we'll do like 2 rows, 8 and 8, going feeding a central collection, which will then go down the center to the middle, and I can collect it over there. And I may do automatic for these, because what you can do is like at one single spot at the end set up a buddy block, and as soon as it detects growth, it'll kick off pistons, which will then basically harvest everything, and I can do that on all 4 of those items, and then they'll automatically hit the trough, go down to a collection point, and I may even end up, I want to put mechanical power, but I don't want to do it up here. So maybe what I'll end up doing is once it gets to the central one, we'll then send it all the way down here to a back wall, put a hole in here so they'll just drop through, put a hole in the floor in the bottom where it drops through, and then once we go underground we can have some filters and whatnot. But for now we'll figure something out, but maybe we'll make it less automatic for the moment, just so that I can manually do it, because otherwise we'll start wasting stuff. But anyway, let's start the planning stages. We'll at least get the farm set up. Once we get the farm set up, then we can work out how we're going to do storage. So I'll be right back. The way we're going to have this set up is it's going to be 9 by 9. So we're at 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. And I don't mean 9 by 9. I mean 9 wide. And the actual part of this that's going to be containing our that's going to be containing our sugarcane will actually only be 8 wide or 8 long, but we're going to have to go a bit longer because we have to put in some circuitry in the back to fully automate this. And we'll be centering this so the dirt will go on either side here. And of course I'm making all kinds of a mess of this with my leg. Alright. And while yes, going 9 wide will make it look prettier on the outside, that's not entirely why I have to go 9 wide. The biggest thing is to power our pistons. So to power the both pistons at the same time, you're going to need a red torch opposite of it. So that's going to have to be based on this wall out here with the pistons coming up right here. So it ends up having to be this, but because of that I can also enclose the entire thing in my brick. That way you don't have redstone hanging out everywhere, so it ends up looking neater. Think I'm probably going to go up another higher because this actually altogether, including having the redstone on top of things, is only 4 tall. This is actually one of those ones where it's pretty compact. And since we're 5 high, I think I will set this one up. Oh man, this is killing me. Set this one up a little bit higher. Actually, I am going to go up. I'm going to go up even one higher because my ceiling's going to be too high, the ceiling versus the floor up top. So I can take out the one layer down here to run my redstone across. It might actually make it easier anyway. And then I'll get the effect that I want. And like I said, the basic effect that I want is I want to connect all of these farms together into one basic collection point at the end. In fact, you know what? Let me finish setting this first section up, and then we'll come back and go over the next area. Alright, so we've gone up a little bit higher here. That'll be the viewing pane, so I'll end up making a platform taking us up to that point. We'll have our initial one down here. Actually, well, with those missing, yeah, okay. So I'll have to take out more of the roof here as I will then go back in and cover it up with another layer because I never did put the second layer in up here yet. So I did similar things over with my wheat farm. You can see over there, you can see where I had heightened it up to cover for where I had to dig into the roof. Alright, so a couple things here. Actually, where to get that? Here's where our items are going to drop. Once it gets down to this bottom level here. Oh, that's right. I'm planning on putting in hoppers on this level. That's funny what I was doing here. Alright, so it'll drop down, and this level is going to be 8. So it'll end up meeting at this point is where it ends. Coming from the other direction, it'll do the exact same thing. So both waters will hit each other, but they'll hit each other right here, and it should just kind of cause the items to stay here, the ones that, if anything makes it, but it'll be a hopper underneath it as well. So back over to here. Now we're going to be putting in our pistons. So like I said, first level will be where the not really a sapling, but it's the initial sugarcane, the one that we don't want to destroy. So that'll go on this first level. And then these next 2 levels are going to be pistons. Alrighty. Now the power to these, and I'll be covering this back up again, but is going to come from our red torches. Alright. So we put them on this level, and now it's going to power both, because what it does is it powers the piston here to extend it, but by powering this, it also powers the block underneath it, which is the other piston. So that causes them both to expand. Now, to control it is actually rather easy. We'll put in one more over here with the redstone torched for our power, and voila. You just run the redstone right across the top of the block it's attached to, and that will then allow you to control the torch and these. So we'll be able to control both sides um, just by connecting the row of redstone going across each of these on the back, and that way when one extends, it'll be the whole thing extending. But anyway, I am definitely going to have to bring this down one level, because otherwise I won't be able to, this is going to be too high. So, I'll be back. Alright, so we have, alright, this is the height we're going to go with. There's our trough where the water will be. That's where all saplings will be. And when it engages, it'll take out the 2 rows where the sugarcane can grow. Now, how we control that is we will have two detector blocks. The first detector block is going to be located up here, and its purpose is to detect when this specific sugarcane grows up to a level of 3. It may be the last one and give us a full harvest, or it could be the first one and just give us partial, but it doesn't matter because it's not like we have to replant or anything. So however many we get when we get it is fine. Now the only way to stop this from being a constant over and over and over and over the pistons until it kills one of the redstone torches is we're going to set up an RS NOR latch. So when this detector block detects that the sugarcane growing, it'll trigger these to extend, and it'll lock them in this position until the RS NOR receives its second signal, which tells it to revert back. That is going to come from a buddy block right here. It is going to be facing this direction. There's 8 blocks, so the water ends here, so the only time it's ever going to detect anything is once sugarcane is ejected out and is moving down the water path. It'll go past this block, and that will send a second signal, which we're going to put on a delay. And the reason we want the delay is so that this won't engage until after we've already sent out all of our sugarcane. It'll come up and reset the latch, which will pull these pistons back, and then it'll be reset and waiting once again. The RS NOR latch won't activate again until that detector block up here again sees something in its field of vision. I am going to set up the basic layout with blocks of where this is all going to go, and then I'll explain how it's actually working, and then hopefully we should be able to activate this and get it moving. And as we seem to be making good time, I think I decided how we're going to do our item. I went ahead and put a hole through the ceiling and then a hole through the floor, and it's dropping down into the sub-basement. And while I haven't gone through and cleared everything out yet, I have enough down there that I can put in some hoppers and be able to collect things down there, and then I'll go down there and pick it up and bring it up as stuff gets filled up. But we'll do that after this, and I'll maybe even do a little widening of it out, and we'll kind of start that project after this one's done. That way when we add our next item in over here, we won't have to get inside this to collect. It'll all be downstairs, so we'll have a little bit more extra space. I don't have to take these 3 spots here. So, alright, anyway, I will be right back. Alright, so we did the circuitry off camera just because my frame rate made it a little easier when I was jumping around and putting in all this stuff. But I'll show you it working, and then I'll explain it for you. So we'll start off by getting in front of this here block. As soon as the sugarcane gets high enough, block gets activated and it pushes out the pistons. Now they're just going to stay out until this block detects the sugarcane coming down in front of it. The water source block is going to be over there, so they'll come down, and as they get down here, it will cause the pistons to go back. You can go in front of this as much time as you want. It's not going to eject the pistons. The only thing that's going to extend the pistons will be that one there, and they will not retract until this one tells it to. So using those 2 detector blocks and an RS NOR latch, we're able to make this work really well. So, quick explanation. Here is your RS NOR latch. It's these 3 blocks. This is actually the output there, what I'm using to power the pistons. So you have 3 blocks, 2 redstone torches, one on the inside of the bottom block, and then one on the outside of this top block, and then you put the 2 pieces of redstone across the top. So our initial state is set from this detector block, and it goes into that bottom block here. Now the RS NOR latch will not reset until the top block receives a signal, and we're getting that from down here. So it's coming up, going through here using a delay, comes up here, and it goes into the top across the if I can get up here, across the redstone, and that resets it. And then of course we just got the just get up here. Then we just got the output going to the left across here to control these pistons, and then straight over and across there to control those pistons. So this is now fully automated. As soon as I put in my water, put in my my reeds, once they grow high enough, the system will automatically activate. So I'm going to go and I'm going to grab a bunch of my reeds, and I'm going to get some water. We'll set it up, and then I'll manually grow them so we can watch it work here. Alright, here we are. So I went ahead and manually planted in everyone except for the one in front of the buddy block. So we'll go ahead and put this last one in. Activates, drops our sugarcane. As they pass in front of it, it resets it. Now it'll just sit there waiting until the next time that it reaches high enough. Alright, so we've got it enclosed now. Put in a little glowstone lighting now going around the outside and on the inside. So yeah, we got the little pathway up to the glass pane. Then we can see where it's at. Once it reaches back there, of course, we will get some free sugar cane. So now I have room enough. I think I got, how many spaces is it here between the center? 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to the center. I think I can put a pumpkin farm and a melon farm on the left and the right here of the center, going again down to the central collection. And then for the outside here, maybe I'll put in maybe put in a cactus farm. No, this is where I'm gonna put a hemp farm. We'll put in a nice large hemp farm. That works. It'll be along the similar as there, using the pistons, so it needs the extra large space. So yep, so we'll have sugarcane, pumpkin, melon, hemp. Alright guys, we are back, and this is kind of how I'm going to do this. So over here we've got the working, and as much as it's working, it's kind of frustrating me how much of this stuff is not falling in. It almost makes me wish I made it a little bit bigger. I think if I had the space, I maybe would have made 2 things of water so that when they're getting pushed off by the pistons, they wouldn't actually land on the opposite end. But space-wise, I don't really have that luxury. Decided I want to put in a second one on this side, because apparently it can take 20 to 30 minutes for one of these to fully grow. And you only get an 18 to 20 of those per. It's really not a very high rate of getting those, so I figured I'd put a second one in just to kind of take advantage of it. And then with the amount of space I have left, I could either put 1 large thing in the middle or 2 small things. And the 2 small things would each be 6 each, with this kind of down the middle. So I've decided to go with a pumpkin and a melon farm. And similar to that, which again, like I said, I'm going to build a second one over here. I'm going to make these fully automatic. I have a design that I used before in my previous LP, and it wasn't a self-harvesting. I still had to run in and grab it. So what I'm going to do on this one, and I saw something on Wood's LP, and I'm not completely copying it, but it's probably going to be very similar. You know, it's funny. Even if you have an idea for something, if you see somebody else have it or somebody else do something, you can't help but have that influence where you end up going on your own. So it's you have a lot, and it's, you know, I don't mind giving credit to somebody who had a good idea, you know, and using that. So it'll be a combination of, you know, mine and his, and it should work. But I'm gonna make it work in a six wide format, and unlike his, mine will be an automatic self-harvesting. Let's see. The basic idea of this is going to be we'll have two dirt blocks down the middle for the melons and pumpkins to grow on, and then of course to the left be the one where the plant is. Underneath the dirt for them to grow on will be pistons. Once the detector at the end is activated, it'll push up these pistons. There will be glass above the plants here, so at this point it'll keep any of the melons or pumpkins from falling into the plant area. So I'm not going to have kind of like over here where I'm going to be losing some of my items, but that won't happen. Plus, in addition, at that point, up here it'll also move to more pistons, which will allow water to come, and it'll kind of wash all of the pumpkins and melons down to the end and into our collection point. So I'm going to have to use over here, and it's probably a good thing I have this space because I'm going to have to do some delay timing to allow the water to be on long enough to ensure that all the melons and pumpkins from the far end make it over here before it resets everything so it can grow again. So anyway, with that, I'm going to kind of go ahead, set up the basic plan for this, and then I'll come back and kind of explain it. Alright, so here's what we got so far. So the initial spot is, our starting spot will be here. So we'll probably once again have a viewing stand here. Which actually I should, we'll figure out how it's gonna, how I'll set that up there. Over here, this is gonna pop up and the water's gonna push everything down to here. So at this point, this is how it's gonna enter the water. I went ahead and capped the top over here and over here so I can run wiring around the outside. This block here actually won't be a block, it's actually going to be the detector. So we'll have the detector here to detect when this block gets updated from the melon or pumpkin, which will be right here growing on it. There will be another detector block, I think this one right here, and that'll detect when the water coming over here pushes the blocks over, and that'll start the timing sequence. We won't start timing until the first of the melons comes over the edge and drops down, and we'll kind of get an idea, and I'll probably go a little on the, or err a little on the side of precaution as far as when to reset the RS NOR latch, which is what we'll be using. Once this detects it, it'll kick in that the RS NOR latch, which will initially the initial state of it will power these to extend up, and then of course over here to extend or to pull or disengage over there to allow the water to come down. And then once this one detects the fallen items, then it'll start the timing circuit back here, which by the time the last items drop will come back in and hit the RS NOR latch to reset it, drop these down, re-engage the blocks up there to stop the water from flowing, which of course that'll happen first, and then these will drop down, and then it can start growing again. So that's the plan. All right, so we got a slow or slight lol. We have a slight update, small update, however you want to put it. All right. So again, here's our two repeaters. Again, they're not repeaters right now, but I moved this one over to this side just so I can separate the two inputs to make it easier to route my wiring. So when it detects something here, it's going to send the signal over there to our RS NOR latch. When the first items come over the top and drop down, this will detect them and send our second signal over. Then we have two rows or two lines coming in. There's our first line coming in here, which goes down and then across over here, and this is going to extend these pistons. And the second line coming up over here will, so I can get down and see, so you can see we have glass over there right now. So if I jump up and put that there, now the glass is gone. That'll allow the water to pour out over here and drop the items off the edge. And then of course, I'll get it later. I power this one, and that will extend all of our pistons up here. As I said, that glass will go up, water comes down, and it'll pour the stuff down here. So now I'm just down to wiring. I need to do a couple things here as far as wiring. First thing I need to do is I need to set up my RS NOR latch. I need to set up my RS NOR latch with my delay circuit. And like I said, this line here is what's going to reset the water off, but I need to add the extra repeaters in so that it doesn't turn it off until after the last items are there. So I was going to need to kind of do some work as far as how that works out. The second part is I need to make sure that these turn on and off in the proper order. Last thing I want to do is wash away my my plants on the side. So I can't have this release until after these are up, and at the same token I can't have these come down until that's come up. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to put in and I forget the name of it, but there's a separate circuit here, and what it does is it makes it so that it powers, when it powers things, it powers number 1 first and number 2 second. And you can make it as long as you want. You could make it 15 items if you wanted. But when it turns off, it's going to turn off number 2 first and then number 1 second. So it'll turn them on and then turn them off in the reverse order, which will allow me to make sure I don't wash away any of my stuff. So that is my biggest issue. I don't have a problem building either of these things. I know how to make them both. The problem is I need to make sure I have the space to do it. So that's where I am right now, and this probably is going to end up extending out further than that one. So what I may end up doing is just building this out and making a false wall just so it all is out the same distance. And then we'll see how this looks here. So I'm gonna do some thinking here and see how I can fit this all in. This turned out to be a much bigger headache than I was anticipating. Wow. So alright, so anyway, I have this running right now just for the sole purpose of demonstrating the timing for the pistons. It's going up here right now into, like I said, my timing circuit. I don't know if you've seen one of these before. I'm not even sure what exactly to call it because it's not like really a clock. But you can see that both of these, this one and that one, have the power going into them. That one's going this way, this one's going that way. And the way it works is when you're powered, this one gets powered first, and that one gets powered second. And it's got this going into here, which continues to give it power after this one ends. So what it ends up doing is this one goes first, this one goes second, then this one turns off first, and this one turns off second. And playing with these a little bit, you can kind of adjust the delay. So, that being said, and the reason why I'm doing it as crazy as this is to get the delay, I'm probably going to need at least 25 repeaters around about. Otherwise, I'd have to try and put like a water wheel up here with some mechanical power to get a turntable, and I just don't really have the room for that. So we're going to go straight repeater, old school. So now I'm using this one setup for both the farms I'm going to be putting in. I guess I will have to come over here to show it. Alright. Yep, here. Okay, good. Alright, so then, like I said, these two are our outputs. I love how repeaters, they make it look like they're a block. I'll probably fall through. Okay, no. Okay, so this is the second, and it's going to go on this line, which is the upper. So if you look over here, takes that, comes around here, and I'm using, again, repeaters to prevent it from interfering with the first line, which basically goes straight down and over, but it also kind of loops around the back side, and then it runs over to there. So I'm going to be able to recreate what I'm doing here right there using the exact same timing circuit. What it also means is when one of these goes off, the other one's going to go off. So I'm not going to have like a full harvest each time, which is fine. I mean, I can almost even go into timing circuit, and that wouldn't hurt things because it's just going to harvest whatever's there. It's not going to destroy anything, so I'm not too worried about that. What I'm going to do after I just demonstrate this is I'll take this out, and this is actually, this block here and one block down turns this into an RS NOR latch with the initial signal coming from that detector block, which will be there. We'll feed the bottom block, which will turn it on, and the second one, which is right there, is going to come over here, and it's going to run a long loop up and down to get enough repeaters set to full to get a delay long enough to let the water push. And I was timing it, and I need about 15 seconds. So that was my purpose for all this, is just so I can run a bunch of repeaters back and forth. So anyway, now that we got that done, I'll come and show you. And actually, I'm going to take a nap so I can get rid of the rain here. But what I'll do is I'll show you, I got the switch set up here so you can kind of see the timing. So when it detects something, and I actually have something in there right now, and it flips the switch, it drops that first. There's a little bit of a delay, and then the floor comes up. So as you can see, none of my plants were damaged by the water. On the other hand, and I'll give it enough time to get the pumpkin that was down there over. When it goes the other way, this is going to come down. It's going to stop most of the water. And, uh-oh, I messed something up. What did I do? I was demonstrating this without any issues there earlier. Alright, apparently I double pulled that switch, so we'll try it again. So I flip the switch, water comes out, floor comes up, sending a nice little pumpkin down to be the collection area. And then the second time, this drops first, and then the floor drops, but the floor drops long enough afterwards that it's not, the water's not high enough to spread to the other areas. Alright, so this definitely got a little more complicated, and I had to scrap my original idea. There's just no way that I could put in the sensor setup like I had over there, because with the base coming up here, it continued to be in front of it, so it was always detecting something, and it never was able to release. So what I ended up doing is I've tied it in with the output here, so when these activate, that one and the one back there, they'll activate in here. So it's going to be on the same timing. When I finish this one, I may take the output of this one and also run it across into there, so that when either one of these activates, it'll activate these ones as well. But so you can see here, we have it here. I think this is the one that goes first. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, when it gets a signal, it pops up here and nothing on the sides. And there we go. Same thing here. So all my stuff here, all here is all free. And we'll come back here. And you see how we have it all hooked up together. The two outputs of here. Yeah, put this one going there, it comes over here. This is the initial. And this is all just kind of, as I was figuring it out, it won't be the final, because I still have to run the wiring for the second farm here. But that comes up into the RS NOR latch and turns it on. And the second output, which is what's going to turn it off, is coming from the second detector. And it's going through a large number of repeaters, which gives me about a 15-second delay. And that comes into the bottom of the RS NOR latch to reset it. And then it goes up into here, and what I ended up doing to fix the timing is I made this too wide so I can put 3 full tick delays on both of these repeaters before this one, and that allows the top pistons to close and stop the water and give plenty of time before the bottom pistons drop down, so I don't have to worry about my seeds getting destroyed or my plants getting destroyed. So that is everything now. It's actually working the way I want it to. So now I'm going to go ahead, plant the seeds. I think I'm going to build the second one here. We'll button it all up, and then we'll kind of sit back and wait for the system to activate, and then we'll watch it. So I'll be right back. Alright, so we have our second one set up here. Not fully fleshed out yet, but I'm just going to do the demonstration. So I still have the switch set up, but it's just interlinked with the actual setup now, which are the connection to the reed farm, which is fully functioning. So as you can see, these are both connected identically. So when it's activated, it's doing them both. Functioning as they're supposed to, and they are connected. So I can go ahead and finish planting on this one, and then completely enclose this, and we are done with this part. And then all I have to do is finish this reed farm here, and this floor will be complete. Alright, and number 2 is now complete. Got everything planted, it's been tested. Got our pumpkin patch here. Over here we have our melon farm. And then of course we have our first of the sugar cane, which is already partially grown. So you see we got a difference in harvest time, so it should give us more melons and pumpkins. And then of course we completed the outside. I just need to put a door in here for access inside. I kind of piggybacked onto this one, so I didn't have to do quite as much of a delay. And then it connects in over here, and then uses this same RS NOR latch that then uses the same input from there or there, whichever one fires. And so yeah, we have a 100% fully automated sugarcane, pumpkin, and melon farm now. And then of course down here, and I still have to come in and do some tidying up, but right now I've already gotten some pumpkin and melons coming in there, and lots of sugarcane. Alright, so that's going to be it for today. We'll kind of work on under here and the third level here maybe next time. I think I'm going to turn the third level into just a complete hemp farm, automated hemp farm, just kind of like we did before. And maybe we'll put in some cactus up there too. We'll see. But and then down here, I want to go ahead and start the automation of the collection. And I may be a little bit later on my next episode, because I am going to do the research into this. But Better Than BuildCraft is updated for 3.x for BuildCraft, and I'm assuming for the latest of better than wolves. So I am going to be upgrading. So I'm not even going to need to use water streams anymore. Now they got the ability to drop items on top of the transport pipes, and then of course direct what items go in which direction from the transport pipes, which will give me a whole lot more control over separating the items that drop down. So when on my third floor I use this exact same hole, everything will just keep dropping down here. I can sort everything at the bottom, take it towards some storage areas, so I may make a bit of a storage thing going on that floor directly below here. But yeah, so it's gonna take me a little research, kind of get the feel for all the stuff. Then we'll come in and we'll go through some of the new items, how to craft them, what their uses are, and then try and see if we can't make something cool out of it. So, all right, well, thank you again for watching. Please rate, comment, and subscribe. As I've said before, I will reply to all comments, and I appreciate any comments, good, bad, or ugly. You know, that's the only way to get better is to learn. And if you see something that you think I could do better on, just let me know. If you just want to say hi, I appreciate that too. I'll say hi right back. Like this if you enjoyed it, and subscribe so that you'll be notified when my next episode comes out. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.